Hey gang, Will here from the Ashland Fly Shop with a fishing report for you for mid-May 2019. Trout season is upon us. So let's talk about it. Here we go. Rogue River. Okay, so we've been talking a lot about salmon fly hatch. We're really pumped about it. It's really right around the corner. In fact, a friend of ours said he saw some flies around the Denman area, which makes sense, which is really down below Dodge Bridge, which makes sense. That's the first place that we would see, a few bugs, handful of bugs. You don't see very many down there, but that's a good sign. That means the water temps are getting to where they should be, and that will sort of precipitate the hatch. As it kind of continues its way upstream, we see those water temps, kind of pick up a bit further upstream. And then once we see them in Shady Cove, then it's really just kind of game on from there. And that usually coincides right around the opening of the hatch. So let's talk about weather. So we do have some weather, and it's a big time for California and for us as well. So we've got some cooler weather, some rain. It's not cold, but we definitely have some cooler temps, some cloud cover. That is going to affect the hatch a little bit. Maybe keep it from the density of bugs showing up on the early side, but I think we will see some bugs at that time. Kind of that normal time around the 22nd when the main stem of the river opens. But it looks like we have this weather system for about a week or so, and then it'll sort of transition back into our normal high pressure sun and stuff like that. So we'll keep you in the loop about that, but we're watching that. A note about the fishing in the Rogue and the Holy Water. We have heard in the last few days some pretty decent fishing, swinging flies, fishing streamers and stuff at the Holy Water. And prior to that, it's been pretty darn slow. So what that tells me is that the fish are perking up. They're coming out of their sort of hibernation, their winter sort of late spawning kind of hibernation, and they're looking to feed. A couple of pretty interesting reports in the last few days, and I think that's going to happen kind of river wide, Holy Water, main stem. So I think there's going to be some pretty aggressive fish looking to get their eat on, get their feed on. So it's coming, it's all happening, it's starting to happen. So we're excited about it. That first week is always a little bit, iffy as far as timing, but it should be pretty wide open for fishing. Good time to flop a dry fly around, like I've said in my salmon fly preview and stuff. This time of year is on the early side for the Holy Water, for fishing big dries and stuff, but you never know. When fish are looking up, they're getting hungry, you never know what they're going to take. So if you're fishing up there, a mix of dries and streamers and stuff in the beginning might really be the way to go. Flows are 2,500 out of the dam, so that's pretty big water. You're going to see that's spillway activity, misting up by the dam. Bring your rain slicker, and it's going to be good flow down through the Holy Water. And then it's about 3,500 at Dodge. So the main stem from the hatchery down to Shady Cove be pretty much business as usual, like I anticipated. Maybe a little bit more flow, but not too much. We'll see if this rain sort of does anything, but I don't think it'll do too much to the flows that we're seeing. Could color the water a bit, but I don't think that would be that big of a deal. So that's what we're looking at for the Rogue. It's looking great, and we're stoked to get out there right on opening day on the 22nd of May in the main stem and do some fishing and start fishing the Holy Water now. So I think the next report will probably be a pretty game on report. So we'll see what we get. Stillwater continues to be a good bet if you are fortunate enough to live where there's some farm ponds or little ponds or bass ponds or lakes or things like that, kind of lower elevation. That stuff is just wide open right now. We've been fishing out at our local reservoir here, Emigrant Lake, and finding crappie and bass and different. So that stuff's all happening. Fish are on the move right now in that way. So that's a lot of fun. Our kind of higher elevation lakes, kind of the next tier in elevation, 3,000 feet or so, that stuff should all be fishing pretty well now. pretty much iced off at this point, and there should be some good fish activity, fish cruising the shallows. I know the Central Oregon lakes in that elevation are really kicking out fish right now and fishing pretty well. So I think Diamond Lake, which is a higher elevation lake in our region, is iced off and fishing good, although they may get some snow this week. We'll see what happens there, but that should be very good fishing up there, just right from the word go. Klamath Lake seems to be, transitioning. It's probably pretty clear at this point, and should be sort of settling into its early season, pretty good fishing. So we haven't had a real solid report from there lately, but it is a place that would be worth checking out right now. Klamath Lake. So that's what we're looking at. Sort of Stillwater fishing in our area continues to be a good time, a good thing to do now. Northern California, a great place to go. We've got a mix of fishing happening down there. Definitely lingering high water. The Upper Sacramento, the McCloud, still seeing higher flows. So limited fishability, I would say. There's definitely access. There's definitely spots you can fish. It's just not going to be what you normally would expect, like in the summertime or late spring, early summer, typically. So what does that mean? Higher flows. That's what we're looking at. You're looking for still that kind of winter type fishing there, where you're looking for bigger kind of glides and troughs and deep nymphing and stuff like that is really mainly what you're going to see. You might see some hatches kind of pop up with a little bit warmer temperature, but most of that's going to be fairly suppressed, I think, those hatches. So expect bigger water if you're going to the McCloud or Upper Sac. Still some good fishing to be had. I'm sure there's some, like we're seeing up here on the Rogue, fish that are ready to get into the feed and get in that zone. So I think there's definitely some fishing to be had and some good fishing, but you got to look for it a little bit more. Spring Creek activity will continue to be the way to go. Hat Creek, Fall River. Haven't had anything from Fall River, but Hat Creek sounds like it's been fishing pretty consistent, pretty solid, like it typically does this time of year. So Hat Creek, I think, would be a good bet. It's probably been fairly busy, is my guess, but it tends to be kind of one of a handful of options for early season when we have a lot of snowpack like we have now. So that story is just going to continue for the next few weeks as we see those rivers, the Upper Sac and the McCloud, kind of drop into shape, and we'll probably see that fishing just really start to take off down there. So we'll keep you in the loop on that stuff as well, but that's what we're seeing in Northern California. Upper Klamath, about 1,400 CFS through that Iron Gate stretch, and that can be a really good place to fish. I think, like I've mentioned a few times in past reports, that's been pretty inconsistent the last few years for salmon flies, but they do get some good salmon flies and a pretty strong golden stone hatch down there in that upper stretch. It's been really hard to peg, I feel like, the last few years, but it's definitely worth checking out, and it can linger a little bit longer than the Rogue sometimes. So I'd say that 1st of June through June, that Upper Klamath is really worth a look, and we'll try to stay tuned into that for you. Basically, we kind of fish it till the water temps kind of spike and get a little too high. So we'll watch those water temps there, but that can be some pretty great stonefly fishing down there as well. So we'll keep an eye on that. We always like to try to run down there at least once or twice a year. So we'll be looking at that, and we'll let you know. So that's what we got for you this week. That's what we're seeing, what we're doing. Again, we're still in this real transition time. We're just about to bust out of it. Salmon flies are just about to show up in the upper river, and we're really excited about that. So thanks so much for tuning in. We appreciate it very much. If we can give you more up-to-date report, please give us a call. We're happy to help, and we'll be here. Thanks so much.